Oh, look, everybody. There's a really cute hijabi walking her dog. What could go wrong, right? Let's check it out. Oh. Oh, no. Oh. What are you, girl, what are you doing? F the IDF. I don't know what that said. Really? This is really convenient, guys. The camera was ready. And she just doesn't strike me as the epitome of modesty, like the usual hijabi girl out there. Let's just see what that truck says. Alright. F the IDF. Israel is an apartheid state. Is what I saw really what I saw? Did I really just see a practicing Muslim woman sieg HEILing to like apparently some random people on the street?
I know, right? Only Isaiah would do that.
Hitler's friend. How fucking Hitler. How fucking Hitler. And any fucking Hitler's friend or fucking anti-Zionist, fucking fuck you guys too. How fucking Hitler. How fucking Hitler.
Push your number, she said 911.
Immodesty. Of course there was something off in that clip. Like, man, anybody out there, I don't care what your background is, but for you to see that and for red flags not to go off in your brain, like, I envy you, because I guess in your world things are so plain and so obvious that you're not suspicious at all. But like, anybody, especially Muslims and like awoken Christians and everybody else, when we see something like that, clearly there's something suspicious going on, right? For that girl to be so open about her racism, even if she was truly a racist, to just go around like something isn't right? And you know what? Lo and behold, you look her up. She is a OnlyFans model. She is the furthest thing from modest that ever hit the streets, you know? And it makes you wonder, like, what would possess her to do this? And why would she go out in the hijab? Like, why not just go out wearing nothing like she usually does? Like, who benefits from this? And what is the message and what's being shown? And it doesn't take much. You know, you go on Twitter a little bit and you will find it. Here, this guy, Beige Midnight, says on X, as I expected, this time it wasn't a brainwashed pro-Palestinian, but a Jewish OnlyFans model, Yasmeen Zohra Roubou, with blue-colored lenses and a hijab on her head, insulting Jews so that they would consider themselves an oppressed group. Read her Hebrew tattoo. Hebrew tattoo? What? Apparently, ChatGPT can read tattoos on people, by the way. And her Hebrew tattoo says, I am not afraid, in English. So, Eni lo mechafed. I am not afraid, or I do not fear. And clearly, this girl doesn't fear jack. This Zionist wanted to send a message. You know, she obviously didn't think that people would track her down and identify her, but she wanted people to think that this is how Muslims and pro-Palestinians act, that they are the Nazis. And something that we see with the IDF side in general is that every accusation seems to be a confession, because, like, yeah, one unfortunate consequence of watching the Palestinian genocide unfold is that a lot of people have reopened the Hitler question. I do not agree with that. I believe Hitler was a genocidal monster. Was he racist for no reason? No, I think he had reasons. I think that those reasons were not justified in killing a bunch of innocent women and children and people, just like what they're doing to Palestinians. But a lot of people have begun to reopen this question because of their actions. And I think that's super unfortunate. But yeah, in this case, it seems like the new strategy is to paint the Palestinian side, the pro-Palestinian side, the people who don't want to see images of unalived women and children every day, that indeed they're the Nazis. And like, this is just a clear, this is just an IDF talking point. And what we saw is just an example of some Zionist propaganda. They like dress up as pro-Palestinian people and create chaos. And here, just listen to what Chief Zionist himself has said recently.
Free Palestine is just today's version of Heil Hitler.
All right, let's see what else is going on in the news.
The fact of the matter is the Palestinian cause is an evil one.
Yeah, and Congressman, there is a ceasefire deal on the table right now that the White House is hoping both Israel and Hamas will sign on to. Does this shooting change anything when it comes to the course of the war or the negotiations to end it?
Well, I think it speaks to the importance of the only end of the conflict is complete and total surrender by those who support Muslim terror. In World War II, we did not negotiate a surrender with the Nazis. We did not negotiate a surrender with the Japanese. We nuked the Japanese twice in order to get unconditional surrender. That needs to be the same here. There is something deeply, deeply wrong with this culture, and it needs to be defeated.
We heard in Brooks.
Milgrim writes, supporting killing innocent people and babies and smearing voices that fight against genocide for some AIPAC money says a lot about your character. You should be ashamed of yourself. How do you sleep at night? And this fat ass Randy Fine says, quite well, actually. Thanks for the pic. Pic is of a baby under rubble. Like, what? If this video sends out any message, it's that we need to look and dig deeper about the people and the messages that we're receiving. 2 people get shot outside of a Jewish museum, and people like Randy Fine want to literally nuke a country that's already undergoing a genocide. And by the way, if you look at the date of this is in 2021, which is way before October 7th. So there's a lot going on, and I think at the very least we should hear what the shooter has to say and learn a little bit more about the victims. So this is a quote from the man that was shot from an account called Israel Exposed, Yaron Lischinsky. He writes, if the Houthis continue to fire missiles towards the state of Israel, they will suffer painful blows. We will hunt down and eliminate Abdul Malik al-Houthi in Yemen, as we did with Deif Sinwar and Nasrallah. Houthis have no idea who they are messing with. Now, you see that guy, the Houthi spokesperson, speak, and it's just the way that we've been conditioned. Like, without even hearing what he has said, he sounds like a terrorist, because that's how Arabs speak when they're trying to speak with dignity. They kind of just sound like that. And America has painted that as terroristy. So, the guys literally, the Houthis have literally said openly and obviously, look, you stop the genocide, we stop attacking. And you know what? let's just hear what this guy had to say. I apologize. This is gonna be this is a long manifesto that Elias Rodriguez, the shooter, has written. It's long, but I'm gonna read it because I wouldn't want to read something myself. So yeah, for the illiterates out there, let me help you out. Halinter is a word that means something like thunder or lightning. In the wake of an act, people look for a text to fix its meaning. So here's an attempt. The atrocities committed by Israelis against Palestine defy description and defy quantification. Instead of reading descriptions, mostly we watch them unfold on video, sometimes live. After a few months of rapidly mounting death tolls, Israel had obliterated the capacity to even continue counting the dead, which has served its genocide well. At time of writing, the Gaza health minister records 53,000 killed by traumatic force, 10,000 under rubble, and who knows how many more thousands dead of preventable disease, hunger, tens of thousands now at imminent risk of famine due to Israeli blockade, all enabled by Western and Arab government complicity. The Gazan Information Office includes the 10,000 under the rubble with the dead in their own account. In news reports, there have been 10,000 under the rubble for months now, despite the continual making of more rubble and repeated bombing of rubble again and again, and the bombing of tents amid the rubble. Like the Yemen death toll, which had been frozen at some few thousand for years under Saudi, UK, US bombardment, before being blatantly revealed to stand at 500,000 dead. All of these figures are almost surely a criminal undercount. I have no trouble believing the estimates that put the toll at 100,000 or more. More have been murdered since March of this year than in Protective Edge and Kashlad put together. Those are Israeli military operations on the ground that kill tons of people. What more at this point can one say about the proportion of mangled and burned and exploded human beings whom were children? We who let this happen will never deserve the Palestinians' forgiveness. They've let us know as much. An armed action is not necessarily a military action. It usually is not. Usually it is theater and spectacle, a quality it shares with many unarmed actions. Nonviolent protest in the opening weeks of the genocide seemed to signal some sort of turning point. Never before had so many tens of thousands joined the Palestinians in the streets across the West. Never before had many politicians been forced to concede that, rhetorically at least, the Palestinians were human beings too. But thus far, the rhetoric has not amounted to much. The Israelis themselves boast about their own shock at the free hand the Americans have given them to exterminate the Palestinians. Public opinion has shifted against the genocide apartheid state, and the American government has simply shrugged. They'll do without opinion then, criminalize it where they can, suffocate it with bland reassurances that they're doing what they can to restrain Israel where it cannot criminalize protest outright. Aaron Bushnell and others sacrifice themselves in the hopes of stopping the massacre, and the state works to make us feel their sacrifice was made in vain. That there is no hope in escalating for Gaza, and no point in bringing the war home. We can't let them succeed. Their sacrifices were not in vain. The impunity that representatives of our government feel at abetting the slaughter should be revealed as an illusion then. The impunity we see is the worst of those of us in immediate proximity to the genocide heirs. A surgeon who treated victims of the Mayan genocide by the Guatemalan state recounts an instance in which he was operating on a patient who'd been critically injured during a massacre when suddenly armed gunmen entered the room and shot the patient to death on his operating table, laughing as they killed him. The physician said the worst part was seeing the killers, well known to him, openly swagger down local streets in the years after. Elsewhere, a man of conscience once attempted to throw Robert McNamara off at Martha's Vineyard bound ferry into the sea, incensed at the same impunity and arrogance he saw In That Butcher of Vietnam, as he sat in the ferry's lounge laughing with friends, the man took issue with McNamara's very posture, telling you, "My history is fine and I can be slumped over a bar like this with my good friend Ralph here and you'll have to lump it." The man did not succeed in heaving McNamara off a catwalk into the water. The former Secretary of State managed to cling to the railing and clamber back to his feet, but the assailant explicated the value of the attempt by saying, "Well, I got him outside, just the two of us," and suddenly his history wasn't so fine, was it? A word about the morality of armed demonstration. This is wild, guys. I mean, and a little suspicious. Like, let's just drop a manifesto. Okay. Those of us against the genocide take satisfaction in arguing with the perpetrators and abettors have forfeited their humanity. I sympathize with this viewpoint and understand its value in soothing the psyche, which cannot bear to accept the atrocities it witnesses, even mediated through the screen. But inhumanity has long since shown itself to be shockingly common, mundane, prosaically human. A perpetrator may then be a loving parent, a filial child, a generous and charitable friend, an amicable stranger, capable of moral strength at times when it suits him, and sometimes even when it does not, and yet be a monster all the same. Humanity doesn't exempt one from accountability. The action would have been morally justified taken 11 years ago during Protective Edge, around the time I personally became acutely aware of our brutal conduct in Palestine. But I think to most Americans, such an action would have been illegible, would have seemed insane. I'm glad that today, at least, there are Americans for which the action will be highly legible and in some funny way the only sane thing to do. I love you, Mom, Dad, baby, sis, the rest of my familia, including you. Free Palestine, Elias Rodriguez. What do you guys think?